Hi everyone, it's me, Nicole, and I am back. Before I get started on my pregnancy update, I just wanted to say thank you so much to every single one of you who have left a comment or who have messaged me with such sweet words and thoughtful things to say during this hard time for our family. Every time that we would receive a comment or a message, it sent me a notification to my phone, and it just seemed like every time my phone would go off for a notification, it just came at like the perfect time. And so I really just want to say I appreciate all your support and all your kind words so much, and they have brought a lot of comfort to us during this time. So that being said, I've missed out on several weeks of pregnancy updates, and there has been a lot of stuff going on, so I want to get to it and let you guys know what's been going on. So where I left you guys off at was I had seen my midwife, and she had let me know that midwives at that particular hospital were no longer allowed to attend or be responsible for the births of VBAC patients at that hospital. So I had to start seeing the OBs that she was partners with. There's 2 midwives at this particular practice and 5 doctors, and so I had to pick one of those doctors to start seeing for the rest of my pregnancy, and then they would be my doctor. But she had also explained that that she would still be there for labor support, and she'd kind of be like my doula, and that between her and the doctor they would work as a team together. And so I was kind of happy about that, because I did want a doula, I did want that labor support, and I was comfortable with them, I knew them, and so the fact that I have that extra security blanket there as the doctor, I wasn't too bothered by that, as long as the midwife was there to kind of still be my advocate. Ahead and I made an appointment with one of the doctors. I wasn't sure which doctor to make an appointment with, because there was 5 of them, and I didn't know if there was, a preferred doctor or what, but I just picked one of the doctors and I made an appointment with them. So that's where I left you guys off at. Now, that weekend we went down to see my brother in St. Louis, had a really good time. I was kind of nervous to travel. In my 3rd trimester, I've never traveled while pregnant at all, so I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how hard it was going to be on my body, but we did really well. And I didn't, we walked around the zoo all day on Saturday. I was kind of worried about the ramifications I was going to incur on Sunday, but come Sunday I was completely fine. We drove all the way back up to our home, and then on Monday and Tuesdays when I really felt the burn, I felt like I had done a bunch of leg presses. So, but it was a lot of fun, and we made some great memories before this baby got here, and Sadie got to see her uncle, and it was just a lot of fun. So we were thankful that we got to do that. That week we also had an ultrasound. That was the same week that we had like a really bad flood going on in our area. So it had been raining Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I want to say, and by that point all of the tons of the schools were closed, roads were closed. It was just really difficult to get around. There were subdivisions where people couldn't get out of their subdivisions. It was really bad, but we had our ultrasound that day, and so Robert was able to kind of navigate us to get us to the hospital so we could have that ultrasound. It was just to check the growth of the baby and make sure that she wasn't growing too quickly or that she hadn't hit a stall, because with Sadie at one point she had not grown for like 3 weeks, and so they just wanted to make sure that the baby had continued growing, but then again that she wasn't getting too big at the same time. So at that appointment she was 5 pounds 5 ounces, which was already bigger than Sadie was when she was born. So that was at 32 weeks, and Sadie was born at 35 weeks 6 days, and she was only 4 pounds 7 ounces. So she's a big girl. She's doing a good job growing, and that was really exciting for me. So we got to see her, but she didn't show us her little face. She was hiding her face, and I was so sad, because again, we still have no idea what we're going to name her. And we have like a list of, I don't know, 7 to 10 names that we love, but we just don't know what we're going to name her, and it's not helping us that we don't get to see her little face on the ultrasound. So with Sadie, we saw her face every single time. She never hid her face, and we were pretty strong on her name. We didn't falter at all, but for some reason with this baby we just cannot put like we can't commit for some reason. So anyways, the next week, week 34, is whenever I went and met the OB that was associated with my midwife that I decided to go with. And right off the bat, I knew that she kind of felt like she was going to be, I don't know, like I kind of felt like she was going to be, wanted to defend herself, I guess. I don't know if it's because a lot of people really preferred the midwife, and so whenever they came back to the OB, they were like bitter about it. I'm not sure. I started my pregnancy with an OB, so it wasn't a big deal to me, but I did have some questions for her. I did want to make sure that, you know, she was comfortable with the whole situation and that she was going to work well with the midwife, and it was all going to be a cohesive teamwork effort to get this baby out vaginally. But I went in, and as soon as we kind of started talking, I kind of felt some resistance from her, and she began to make 4 things very clear. The first thing that she made like super clear was that I must go into labor naturally, which I knew that was the case. But she said I must go into labor naturally before 40 weeks, and she proceeded to make an appointment for my C-section that day, like right then and there. She's like, okay, what day is your due date? All right, it's a Monday. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and schedule your C-section for that day, and hopefully you go into labor before then. But like, she literally scheduled my C-section. First time meeting her, like the first 5 minutes of our appointment, and she was making a date for my C-section, and I was just flabbergasted. I'm like, wow, you really do, you know, you're really like serious about this. So that was something that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Also, the second thing was I talked to her about the midwife, and I asked her how she felt about working with her and things like that. And she said, oh, it's great to have the midwife there for your, you know, for your labor and for your comfort and things like that. But just so you know, she has no input. She has, you know, I won't be consulting her for anything like that. I will be making your medical decisions. I will be putting in the orders. I will be doing everything. And it wasn't necessarily that bothered me, but just the way that she was saying it, it sounded like almost begrudgingly towards the midwife. Like, yeah, we have to let them be there, but, you know, they have no say in your care. And so it was kind of the opposite feeling that I got from the midwife, because the midwife had made me feel like it was going to be a team effort. And though I knew that the midwife couldn't be, you know, the decision maker, I thought that she was going to kind of be like a consultant and an advocate for me. And according to just the feeling that I was getting from the doctor, that was not going to be the case. So that was the second thing. I have my big like list down here, my big story, so that's why I keep looking down. Okay, the third thing was that, even if I did come in to the hospital in labor naturally, I had to follow the curve of labor. And if I did not follow the curve of labor, then I would also be heading into the OR for a C-section. And if you don't know what the curve of labor is, the curve of labor is that you would dilate 1 centimeter per hour during active labor. So, so that means that if for some reason I stalled out for 2 hours and I didn't make any progress, then I would be going into having a C-section. The problem with this is that if that were the case, every labor would be like 10 hours long, bada bing, bada bing, bada boom, you're done. That's so just not evidence-based at all. For most first-time moms who give birth vaginally, it can take anywhere from 16 to 24 hours. And, you know, for subsequent pregnancies, they say it goes quicker. I'm not sure which category I'm really placed in, seeing as I have already had a birth, but it was a C-section and I never got to contract. So I'm not sure where I fit in there, but just hearing that there was like a timer placed on me as soon as I stepped into the hospital, you know, and if I don't dilate 1 centimeter per hour, then I was, you know, doomed. That just really didn't rub me the right way at all either. So, and then the fourth thing, and this was really the kicker, was that I had told you guys that there's 5 doctors in this practice and 2 midwives. Not all the doctors are VBAC friendly. This doctor, you know, claimed that she was VBAC friendly. She says, I do VBACs. which I do VBACs. You don't do anything. You catch the baby. The mama is the one that pushes the baby out and goes through all the labor and does the work. But anyways, don't get me started on that. But basically she's like, you know, I do VBACs, but not all of the doctors in the practice do. And so that made me wonder, okay, the way that our hospital works is whoever or whichever doctor is on call from that practice is the doctor that you get on that day. So if I come into the hospital and I'm in labor and the doctor that's on call doesn't do VBACs, then I'm screwed, because he's, you know, he just says, well, I don't do VBACs, not my thing, so we're gonna go ahead and book you for the ER or the OR. And, you know, it's kind of just like a roll of the dice. And so at this point when she was telling me this, I started crying because I'm like, what are my options? So basically I'm just rolling the dice and walking into the hospital and hoping that one of the doctors that do VBACs are there. Like, what if one of the doctors that don't do VBACs are there? And I'm not comfortable with that at all. And so the doctor told me that, you know, well, calm down, you know, we're in a time of transition right now. We're still figuring out all of that, all of the little things. I will talk to the next doctor, and by the time your next visit comes up, we'll have it all hammered out. And at this point, I believe I said I'm 34 weeks. So I have 6 weeks left. And to be honest with you, the way that I felt leaving that doctor's appointment was, I don't have time for this hospital or this group of doctors to hammer things out and figure things out. I don't have time for that. I need a doctor that I know where they stand, I know where I stand with them, and I can't go forward, you know, not knowing. I really felt, and I told the doctor this, I said, you know, this is ridiculous. This is really going to force a lot of moms to, you know, that really want to VBAC. It's going to force them to make maybe more risky decisions. And the doctor's like, well, I don't want you to do anything rash, you know, I want you to, and by risky, I mean, like, you know, doing a home birth or something like that, which is not all that risky for a lot of women, but for a VBACing mom, they want that comfort sometimes of being in a hospital and if something were to go wrong, having the, you know, doctors there and things like that. But if you're gonna leave us with no choice, what are we supposed to do? So she's, you know, she told me to go ahead and make an appointment for 2 weeks later, and that they'd have more things figured out. I walked out of her office, and at the registration table there was already 2 people standing there checking in or checking out, I'm not sure which, and I was so full of emotion at that point that I just walked right out. I had no intention of walking right out. I had every intention of making an appointment, but something came over me and I just walked right out of the building, right out of the hospital, got in my car and called Robert, and I never looked back. I told Robert, I said, we've got to, you know, I was crying. I was like, I don't think there's any other options. I'm 34 weeks pregnant. What can I possibly do? And he just told me that we would figure it out, and even if that meant that, you know, we would stay home until the baby's head was basically hanging out, that we would figure something out. And so I got home, and I'm actually involved with the local ICAN, which is the International Cesarean Awareness Network. If you don't know what that is and you've had a previous C-section, you should definitely go check out that website. I will try to put the link in below so you can check that out and find your local chapter and just get involved. Even if it's just going to a couple meetings, it's really, really great to get connected with those ladies. I went on our Facebook page and I just lit it all out, and I got so many suggestions, and they were able to hook me up with a doctor that's very VBAC supportive. It's at a different hospital, which is actually about the same distance as the other hospital. It's further away from all of our family and things like that, but from us it's probably equidistant as the other hospital. But I went to the hospital's website and I love a lot of their policies. They have a no separation policy after birth, so even for like all the exams that the baby's gonna have, and you know, even if you have a C-section, they try to keep the baby as close to you as possible. And I don't know, it was just a great feel that I got. And so I called the doctor up and I was hoping and praying that he would be able to take me, and they set me up with an appointment for, I think I called on Wednesday or Thursday, and they were able to get me in on Monday, which was amazing. So so I had an appointment with them on Monday. Page 2.